Good morning, guys. Today we're going to go over the squats, right? Don't get wrapped around the axle if you don't have the equipment. This all can be done at home, and that's what we're going to make sure we can show you, because there's a progression. We're going to give you a couple options, and then if there's a further progression you want, there's a lot on our YouTube channel. But what we're going to do is, the first one is squat. Okay. Oftentimes, so the progression is going to be, first we're going to work into the squat. Okay. We're going to end up working on an air squat. Okay. But if that becomes a challenge, what actually is a very useful thing is end up getting yourself a bench or a seat. You can see it's just below knee. That's the idea. It's like those uncomfortable low toilets, like the kids' toilets type situation, right? That's what we want to do is, I'm going to go down there, right? I can either touch and go, or I can go back, sit vertical, and then lean back forward and stay in that nice rock. That's totally acceptable. And also, there's no shot at sort of your inability to do these things. The progression is great, right? So don't think that if you can't do one, there's no value. So if we're there, great, right? If we can get into this nice, good athletic air squat, you can use your hands to create that balance. You can keep your hands out in front of you, okay? And then if that becomes like a bit of an issue, especially getting to depth, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run into the assisted. Now, again, don't get wrapped around the fact that this is a rack. It could be really, I could just lay a barbell across this. I mean, we could also, use any other bench, but essentially what I'm gonna do is I could get in a squat rack, take one of these bars, lay it across this, and now I've got a handle essentially. Okay, so same idea, these handles, right, are to keep me in the right place. And it's there for assistance. We want you to use your arms as much as possible to allow for that nice, good, healthy, regenerative deep squat. So pick any one of these things. You could start with one and taper into the other. It's just a good combination and gives you good options. Hey guys, today we're gonna go over an awesome exercise that for a lot of people is not super awesome, because of all these reasons. So we're gonna kind of help you kind of vector into making the push-up awesome again, okay? So the regular push-up, what I would suggest doing is the biggest commonest thing is we don't wanna be in this position, right? Even if you're like, well, that's what I commonly get. What we first wanna do is get our elbows next to our rib cage a bit better, right? We don't wanna be flared out here with the firearm. We wanna be nice and tight here too, so that should be pretty familiar, like nice right here. So I'm gonna take, like I was gonna push somebody. Okay, if I get my push-up, it's just a moving plane. My butt's tight, right? I'm out over my hands, not back here in a shrug. Out over my hands, right? Down and up. Okay, that is a problem. No big deal, because we're trying to find value in it. So get one of these, and these are in every gym. I guess they're kind of the only exception. We might want to have something like this. Okay, but then we have another variation here. So take this guy, loop it up twice, right? You're gonna stick your arm here. The only caution is if you got arm hair, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. I'm gonna twist this once, twice, doesn't really matter, okay? Then I'm gonna stick this right behind my elbow. See the bend? Right behind my elbow. I'm gonna take my push-up position. This is actually gonna keep my elbows in a lot better. Now I'm gonna use this as a nice little springboard, nice little slingshot, okay? So let's say that helps us out, but we're not getting to the push-ups that we want, the number and the style, okay? So let's take that same idea and let's elevate our torso. Imagine again, it's just a barbell across. Don't get wrapped around the axle. You don't have this equipment. This could be you could be just a bench, a side of a bench. This could be your couch. This could be anything really stable. So I'm gonna get into that push-up position, right? Boom, down and up, okay? If I need to make it less difficult, I would just raise these handles, okay? But we also can see is if we have this band and we've been working on push-ups, look what else we can do. We can take and put this thing on that when we're elevated like this, and I can still get to that value of that movement pattern. So work on this progression just like we have been in a squat, and you're gonna see a lot of value when you're able to work through different sort of options. Hey guys, today we're gonna go over another exercise to combine with some of the others, a little bit more of aerobic output, but also like what we're looking at is this, we're gonna start doing like a jumping jack. So it may kind of be something that seems fairly juvenile, but what really is good when we start doing a jumping jack or getting on like a little trampoline, or we go on a nice little jog, that bounce that our body takes physiologically really improves our circulation. Really, it's a very good way to start flushing some of our toxins out and get moving, that natural bounce. So with that, the work that we're doing, that we're kind of stationary doing push-ups and squats, we're gonna get you moving a little bit, okay? We're gonna go into a jumping jack. Now, if we can't do the full jumping jack, right? There's a lot of time here, we're moving and it might be a little bit hard effort. So what's perfectly fine is we're gonna put our hands above our elbows. That's kind of where we would typically run from, okay? Not so much here. So let's just put our hands above our elbows and we can imagine that there's a line. We're just, boom, going to the line like there's a piece of tape. Off the line, on the line, just like this, okay? We start doing this, okay, for time, and that becomes useful. Then we're just gonna take our hands to a little bit out, okay? Once we're able to accomplish that, right, we're gonna go with a full jumping jack, touch our hands above our head, hands on our hips, okay? And then the last progression of that really would be, you can put some weights in your hand, not heavy weights, right? Light weights, 2 pounds, 1 pound, 3 pounds, right? And we can start doing, moving the hand up, I can lift my hands up, I can do all sorts of things, right, to accommodate that good bounce. We want a nice athletic bounce, okay? And we want to be able to have that progression. So if you start off like this, it's totally okay if you just finish like this, okay? So work through the progression, have a plan, and you'll see this real benefit. Even just doing these little things really correctly, you'll see a real big benefit.